Hi, I'm Moon Title with Presence Heals and Women's Wellness Circle. And I just got back from exploring the mountain near us with my 3-year-old niece. And I wanted to just take a couple moments this morning to talk about exploring and cultivating joy. So I just want to invite a few moments of exploration and share with you some experiences that I've had in the last week. So I live in the Adirondacks of New York in the United States, and we've recently had quite a heat wave. And so I was on my lunchtime on one of our very hot days, and I poured myself a little cup of cold blueberry kombucha, and I took a sip, and I went, not even thinking about it. It was just my response. It'd been a very hot morning working, and I was hot and sweaty, and it just felt so good, like the cool bubbles and the taste of the blueberry in my mouth. And I just went, and one of my nieces was standing next to me, and she said, "Auntie Moon, why did you do that?" and I hadn't, wasn't even aware of what I'd done. And I said, "Well, what do you mean?" And she said, "You just went, why did you do that?" And I said, "Oh, I had to think about it for a moment, because that's one of those things we just sort of habitually do." And I said, "Oh, because it's so hot and it feels so good." And and that was just how my body expressed how great it felt to have that cool blueberry kombucha in my mouth. And she at the time we had made some coconut milk lime popsicles the week before. And so she was there licking her popsicle while I was drinking my kombucha. And I said, like, doesn't it feel good when your tongue, licks up on the popsicle? Do you want to try it? And so for the next 15 minutes, the two of us, she would take a lick of her popsicle, I would take a sip of my kombucha, and we just kept going. And of course, as those of you with children or who spend time around children, this became something that we've repeated a lot over the last week. And what I've noticed, this was, a habitual response to pleasure, to something that felt good, that I had never really given any thought to. And that's the really exciting, wonderful thing, right? About one of the many exciting, wonderful things about sharing our lives with children is we get to explore and see what we're experiencing from a new lens. And so what I've noticed from spending a week just sort of spontaneously going is it makes me feel really happy. I find that my heart opens and joy starts bubbling up and spreading, and I just feel really happy. And it brought me to thinking um, how great it is to bring more mindfulness and awareness and play to how we express our bodies and how we express what's moving through us. And to then, like I just kind of organically did, continue sort of perpetuating that experience in a moment when we needed joy. And so um, I left my niece on the mountain with my parents, not by herself, because I needed to come work. And on my way down, my heart was a little sad leaving them, because it was so fun exploring the woods with her and introducing her to different mushrooms and to the moss and to the birds and the trees. And so on my way down, I just found myself spontaneously going, and by the time I reached the bottom of the trailhead where my car was, I felt really delighted and happy. So for all of us, it's going to be different, perhaps, the body mudras, shall we say, the movements and play of our bodies that bring us joy. But what I wanted to share with you today was the experience of exploring our pleasure, exploring our joy, and making these sounds. And then what happens, right? Because I was habituated to this over the course of a week, thanks to my beautiful niece. And then it just came up when I needed it. It came up as a habitual response of like, oh, like my heart's a little sad. It's so hard to leave the woods and exploring and playing with my niece. And just so that's what I wanted to share with you this morning, to invite play and pleasure and expression of your body and your voice. And, here I was using my tongue. So let me know how that goes for you. And if this is if this is a cultivation of joy that resonates for you, finding those joyful expressions in your body and continuing to move with them. And again, my name is Moon Title. My healing practice, presenceheals.com, and the women's wellness circle.com. If you want to explore further connecting in joy, presence, and healing, please reach out. Okay, thanks. Bye.